How do I bring back more excitement and more engagement into the way that I connect with my workplace? Now, that's the nice version that I hear so often. The flip side of that is I'm completely drained, I'm exhausted, and I have zero desire to connect and engage in my workplace. What the hell am I going to do? And I want to talk about one of my favorite hacks because it's so clear and it's so simple. But a lot of times we miss the capacity to plug into our own energy source because we're looking for understanding and grabbing energy from the outside world. And the hack is a values alignment, bridging between the values of whoever or whatever I am interacting with, be that my company, my partner, a colleague or friend, and my own drivers and values. Now, if you've never done a values assessment, I'll put a link in there so that you can play around with this. But this is recognizing what are the things that show up in our lives that impact and influence the decisions that we make, the things that light us up, that make us choose A over B on a consistent basis. And they might show up differently depending on the different situations we're in. But those values and those drivers then also directly influence the vision that we have for what we want to create in our lives. And if we haven't taken the time to connect, or in many cases reconnect with those values, we may have found ourselves a long way off if we're just looking for the values of our company to keep us afloat. When I enter into working with a company, be that as a consultant or trainings or whatever it might be, or in a form of employment, it's so interesting because for so long, I just looked at their values and their vision and thought, okay, I can work with this. But that's the equivalent of trying to plug yourself into a hamster wheel and hoping that it's going to give you enough energy. The values and visions of other people, unless they are an exact match to yours, will never be enough. But when we're aware of our own values, then we can start to say, okay, how do these connect? And how can I bring my own value into this world so that I feel excited, I feel engaged, I feel like my own drivers are activated, and then I take the moment to figure out how my drivers interact and play on the playground with what my company is hoping to create, or with what my partner and I want to create for our future. So, a lot of times we miss that like supercharged power because we're looking for the drivers to come from the outside world. But when you take a moment, stop, reflect, and say, okay, what drives me and how can I infuse that into the work that I'm doing right now? I'll give you an example. Fun, one of my top drivers. For so long, I did not allow myself to think about that because I thought, fun, that's cheating, right? Everybody wants fun. Turns out not everybody wants fun as a top value. I learned that and I realized, oh, okay, that really works. And so what I do is no matter what project I'm working on, one of the first things that I ask myself is, how can I make this fun? How can I make the process fun? How can I bring in cool people that I find fun to work with? What types of fun exercises and activities can we create and build so that this is an engaging process? Because if I'm just looking at the topic of, say, transformation, right? It's a great topic, but that alone is never going to bring my level of excitement up alone, because I think it's really important. But if I can't make transformation fun, I'm going to struggle. So I'm curious. If you've never done a values assessment before, then now's your chance. You can take a look at what are some of the things that drive you. And if you're like many folks and you've done way too many values assessments, then take a moment to go back and look. See some of those drivers and ask, where can I build a bridge in whatever it is that I'm engaged right now to re-infuse my life force, my own energy and drivers back into this project or place of work.